All right, now we got to talk about the Connor Bedard back-to-back 10-minute game misconduct. So, of course, I did do an article about this on Blackhawk Up when Connor Bedard was assessed the 10-minute game misconduct in the game against San Jose, but this could also apply to the game in Vancouver, but mostly I did it on the game against San Jose. So I will put that in the description for you guys to check that out. It's on Fansided's Blackhawk Up page. I basically broke down the 10-minute game misconduct, did a little bit of analyzing, in-depth analysis right there, and I asked the big question: was the Connor Bedard 10-minute game misconduct called for? Like, was it really called for? So, because I thought it was a stupid penalty in the game against San Jose. And, of course, in Vancouver, it didn't need to happen as well. So, we're going to break that down, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So, of course, in the game against San Jose, Connor Bedard, he was tripped up by Sharks defenseman Mario Ferraro without a penalty call. He was frustrated, and then he went to the bench, exchanged words with referee Chris Rooney from the bench, and then I don't know what was said. We couldn't hear what was said between Connor Bedard and Chris Rooney. And then moments later, Chris Rooney's like, okay, you're out of here. Well, not out of here. They basically just escorted Connor Bedard to the penalty box. For a 10-minute game is kind of with 10:50 left to go in the third for the Blackhawks game against the Sharks. He did not touch the ice until 50 seconds of regulation. I think Tyler Toffoli scored an empty net goal in that game to make it 4-2 Sharks. And then that's when Connor Bedard came out on the ice. And like I said, don't know what was being said between the two, but according to the Blackhawks post-game show on WGN Radio and the Blackhawks Breakaway podcast, Charlie Remoliolis, he was saying that Chris Rooney was talking to Nick Foligno, and he held up the number 2 sign saying that's 2 times that Connor Bedard was going at it with the officials, and that's probably the reason why he got sent to the penalty box. That's what I heard from Charlie Remoliolis. Of course, he's the Blackhawks radio host and reporter for the Chicago Blackhawks. He does WGN radio for the Blackhawks. So that's what he said on his radio show and on the Blackhawks Breakaway podcast he does with Pat Boyle. And, of course, I listened to the post-game interview with Connor Bedard when he was asked about the penalty. And, quote-unquote, he said that he didn't think his comments were, quote-unquote, too crazy for the officials. But he did also say that's the referee. I mean, that's his job. Got to make the calls. But he also said that he needed to be careful, that he needed to be, quote-unquote, smart with his words. So that's what he said in the interview as well. Now we go 2 days later to the game in Vancouver, his hometown. He grew up cheering for the Vancouver Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks were his favorite team, and of course, in this game was worse than his last game. And of course, following a hit by Blackhawks center Jason Dickinson on Canucks Filipino, which Filipino had to leave the game because he had a concussion and he did not return for the final 2 minutes of that game. And he did not play in Sunday's game against Utah because he was had a concussion. And then, so after that, Jason Dickinson hit on Filipino. Bedard was tangled up with a few Canucks players. And then Connor Bedard, along with his teammate Frank Nazar, and then Canucks players Philip Hronek and Connor Garland, they all received 10-minute game misconducts. And, of course, you didn't see the video from Connor Bedard. It's on Twitter. I think the Blackhawks CHSN page posted it. Charlie Remoliolis posted it. And they showed a clip of Connor Bedard walking down the tunnel, and he threw his helmet while exiting to the locker room. And he was livid. He was livid after the call. And like I said, this is nothing new. I said this off air. This is nothing new. We've seen Connor Bedard act this way in games before when the referees don't make the right calls. This is nothing new. We've seen this from Connor Bedard before. This isn't the first game that he's acted up like this. And the Blackhawks in general, they got to do better. They got to play with that ruthless aggression. Because over these past few games, they have not been playing that. Their defense soft. Special teams soft. Offense soft. Not generating enough. Not defending well. And I said this off air. The excuses for saying we're a rebuild team is over with. Like, yes, I know you're in a rebuild. Everybody knows that you're in a rebuild. But the excuses for saying that we're losing because we're a rebuild team, we're trying to make it happen. No, all that crap is over with. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but all that crap, all those excuses over it. I mean, you think after trading away Seth Jones, you get Spencer Knight, you get a solid player in Joe Veleno, you trade away Craig Smith and Peter Mrazek, you think this team will start trending in the right direction. Probably being a little bit better after the trade deadline, but it's more the same result. And I know Blackhawks fans are tired. They don't really want to hear this. But Seth Jones, when he said, we've been the same team since game one, we haven't made any strides whatsoever to play a more simple, better hockey game. He said that in the Blackhawks 2-1 loss to Utah Hockey Club on February 25th. He was right. And as much as I think, and Blackhawks fans in general think, that Seth Jones was the main reason for why the Blackhawks are where they are, why the Blackhawks have been performing well, as much as I think, along with other Blackhawks fans think, that Seth Jones was the main problem, he was right. He was right. The Blackhawks have been the same team since game one. They haven't gotten better. And something needs to change. Overall, that needs to change on the road. Because looking at the Blackhawks' record on the road, it has not been that nice. They play great at home. They don't play great on the road. So that's what's going to have to change. You're going to have to play better on the road. And next season, I expect the Blackhawks to be better. I expect them to be better next season. And I was listening to the CHGO Blackhawks podcast post-game where the Blackhawks lost 6-2 to the Canucks. I was listening to them saying that the Blackhawks need to go out and find a coach who knows how to win, knows what it takes, has been there, done that. They need to make it count. And I totally agree with that. Because Anders Sorensen isn't the coach for the Chicago Blackhawks in the future. And I'm going to drink a little sip of water. So excuse me for a second. Anders Sorensen isn't the coach that the Blackhawks need. The Blackhawks need a Jay Woodcroft. I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't know if it's Woodcroft or Woodcraft. They need a Gerard Garand. They need a John Cooper. They need a coach who knows how to win. They need a coach who knows how to win. Anders Sorensen is not the guy for the Blackhawks. But overall, this team absolutely needs to change. And there's been a lot of the negative stuff I said about them off air. But in general, there's the excuses for saying that we are a rebuild team is over. I don't want to hear that crap anymore. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear it. Because, yes, we know you're a rebuilding team. Yes, we know that you're struggling. But you're also a young team. And for a young team, you expect the young players to have more energy than the veterans. And that hasn't been the case. This team hasn't defended well. And what I want to see heading into next season, I want to see guys hard checking into the boards. I want to see guys forward checking on the play. I want to see the Blackhawks maintain pressure in the O-zone. I want to see the Blackhawks have pressure in the O-zone against their opponents. I want to see the Blackhawks defend well in their O-zone. I want to see that. I need to see more hustle. I need to see that ruthless aggression. It's hockey. It's not soccer. It's not basketball. It's hockey, point blank and period. So that's what I need to see from the Blackhawks going forward into next season. I need to see that ruthless aggression. And that's something that John Cena is always known for, especially when he started in WWE. And the Blackhawks need to apply that ruthless aggression. That is all. But let me know what you guys think on that. Of course, obviously, like I said, tough year for the Blackhawks. But like I said, something's going to have to change, and you can't throw in the classic excuse for saying we are a rebuilding team. We all know that you're a rebuilding team. But you want to progress forward. You want to, yes, it's going to hurt for a while, but you want to be able to move up forward as the rebuild goes. You can't just say that you're a rebuilding team and that's why you're losing. Like, no, you're a rebuilding team, okay, but I want to see some progression going forward. We have not seen that progression from the Blackhawks. Which leads me into my next topic. Should the Blackhawks bring back Patrick Kane to be captain of the team and to help out Connor Bedard? Now, I said this off air. I thought about doing an article for this on Blackhawk Up, so I'll just tell you guys a little bit of the details. I'm not going to tell you all of it because, like I said, I thought about doing this for Blackhawk Up, and I'll tell you guys all on there. Taking a look at Patrick Kane's contract. He's on a $4 million contract deal for Detroit Red Wings, which is set to expire after the season, and he'll be a unrestricted free agent. Taking a look at Nick Foligno's contract. He has a $4.5 million contract expiring after the 2025-26 season. He's currently the captain for the Chicago Blackhawks, but not the captain the Blackhawks need. He's not the captain the Blackhawks need. I think the Blackhawks need a captain who's been on the lowest of lows, to the highest of highs, lowest of lows, highest of highs, who's been there, done that, reached to the mountaintop, and has done this before. And I believe Patrick Kane is that fit. I know the Blackhawks said before that they weren't going to bring back Patrick Kane. However, they need to bring back Patrick Kane because he needs that. We need to see a veteran player helping out Connor Bedard, and I believe Patrick Kane is that veteran player. Like Connor Bedard, he struggled in his first 2, maybe 3 seasons in the NHL before the Blackhawks broke their 44 year drought of winning the Stanley Cup in 2010 against the Philadelphia Flyers. Patrick Kane struggled through his first 2-3 seasons in the NHL, just like Connor Bedard struggling through his first 2 seasons of the NHL. And like Connor Bedard, Patrick Kane is a first overall pick. First overall pick for the Chicago Blackhawks. He's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, as we all know. Won Stanley Cup to Blackhawks in 2010, 2013, 2015. I believe he can bring some of that leadership quality and skills to benefit Connor Bedard. So that's what I think on that. I'm not going to get into it too much because I want you guys to check out the article I'm going to put out on Blackhawk Up. I'm going to be writing an article for that. Despite the Blackhawks saying that they're not going to bring back Patrick Kane, I think they need to bring back Patrick Kane just to help out Connor Bedard. And, Connor Bedard can benefit well from Patrick Kane. And, of course, I would have said Jonathan Tage, but Jonathan Tage has said himself that he wasn't going to play for the Blackhawks and if he returns to the NHL, which he's working on return. He's resumed skating. I talked about this in last week's episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. He's resumed skating. He's training to come back in the NHL. Says that he still has a lot in the tank left for him. Lot left in the tank in him. And so he's working to that NHL return, but the Blackhawks will not be one of the teams that he plays for. And I know the Blackhawks said themselves that they weren't going to bring back Patrick Kane and weren't going to bring back Jonathan Tage. Not going to bring back Jonathan Tage, fine. But at least bring back Patrick Kane because Connor Bedard needs help. He needs that veteran guidance. I don't think Nick Foligno is the captain to do it. I think the Blackhawks need to bring back Patrick Kane and trade away